Every culture, every era, every corner of the planet has stories of ghosts. From the ancient Egyptians who believed the dead could speak through dreams, to the Victorians who held seances in candlelit parlors, humanity has always been haunted by the same question: what happens when we die? Some say ghosts are the souls of the departed. Others call them echoes of energy, memories trapped in time, or visitors from another dimension. But what if the truth is far more human and far more scientific? In this episode of the Mind Metrics, we're not chasing shadows, we're chasing evidence. We'll uncover how your brain, your body, and even the buildings you live in can create experiences so vivid, so convincing, that you'd swear you'd seen a ghost. By the end of this video, you might not believe in the supernatural anymore, but you'll understand why millions still do. The brain that sees ghosts. When people report seeing spirits, one area of the brain stands out: the temporal lobe. This is where our sense of self, space, and presence is processed, and it can be deceived. Neuroscientist Olaf Blanke at the École Polytechnique Fédérale de Lausanne conducted an experiment that shocked even skeptics. He electrically stimulated a woman's temporal and parietal lobes. She immediately froze. "Someone's behind me," she whispered, describing a shadowy figure that mimicked her every move. There was no one there. The human brain constructs a constant 3D model of your body's position in space. When stress, sleep loss, or certain frequencies of electromagnetic activity disrupt that mapping system, your brain projects a version of yourself outside your own body, a phantom double. This phenomenon, known as the felt presence, explains countless encounters in which people feel watched or followed by an unseen entity. In reality, they're sensing the ghost of their own nervous system. The science of fear. Darkness plays tricks on us, but the trick isn't random. Our ancestors survived by detecting predators in the dark, so our brains evolved to interpret vague sounds and shapes as threats. When you step into an old basement, your heartbeat quickens, your pupils dilate, and your brain releases cortisol. The world sharpens into danger. A creak becomes a footstep. A draft becomes a whisper. Researchers at the University of Hertfordshire recreated haunted conditions in a lab: low light, cold air, electromagnetic fluctuations, and infrasound, low-frequency vibrations below the range of human hearing. Participants began reporting chills, panic, pressure on their chest, even visual hallucinations. None knew that scientists had engineered the entire haunting. Fear heightens pattern recognition. The more frightened we are, the more our brain invents meaning. And sometimes that meaning looks like a ghost, the haunted frequency. In 1998, an engineer named Vic Tandy was working late in his laboratory. As the night deepened, he felt a strange pressure in his chest. His vision blurred. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw a gray shape materializing in the air. A figure. Frozen with fear, he turned toward it, and it vanished. The next day, Tandy discovered that a newly installed fan was emitting a vibration at exactly 19 hertz, the natural resonant frequency of the human eyeball. That sound wave literally shook his vision, creating the illusion of movement. Tandy's ghost became one of science's most famous cases of infrasound hallucination. It's a chilling reminder that the human body doesn't need spirits to summon phantoms. Physics will do just fine. Ghosts in the machine. Imagine standing in an old house, lights flickering, a faint hum in the air, the sensation of being watched. You might assume the place is haunted, but scientists have a more down-to-earth explanation: electromagnetic fields. High EMF exposure can cause dizziness, nausea, paranoia, and auditory hallucinations. It interferes with the brain's limbic system, the part responsible for emotion and memory. Parapsychologist Michael Persinger designed the famous God helmet, which used magnetic fields around the head to simulate the feeling of a presence. Participants reported feeling watched, touched, or surrounded by invisible beings. The device didn't summon spirits, it simply altered brain chemistry. In many so-called haunted locations, old wiring, malfunctioning circuits, or nearby power sources emit strong electromagnetic fluctuations. So when people say they feel energy in the room, they're right. It's just not spiritual energy. It's electricity. The psychology of the paranormal. Human perception isn't objective, it's predictive. Your brain constantly guesses what's around you based on incomplete information. When the guess is wrong, we call it illusion. When it's emotional, we call it belief. Studies show that people who already believe in ghosts are far more likely to interpret random noises as supernatural. This is confirmation bias, the tendency to find what we expect to find. In one famous experiment, two groups toured the same building. Group A was told it was haunted. Group B was told it was undergoing renovation. Only Group A reported footsteps, chills, and the feeling of being watched. Same building, same environment. Two realities, one shaped entirely by belief. Belief doesn't just color perception, it rewrites it. And once your mind connects fear with meaning, that meaning becomes a story. The kind that lingers for generations. When the dead walk in dreams. For centuries, people have woken in terror, paralyzed, feeling a weight on their chest and a dark figure looming over them. Every culture has named it: the night hag, the mare, the demon of sleep. Today we call it sleep paralysis. It happens when the brain wakes up during REM sleep. But the body's paralysis switch hasn't turned off yet. You're conscious but frozen, trapped between dream and waking reality. During this state, the brain's visual cortex can project dream imagery onto the real world. The shadowy presence, the whispers, the suffocating pressure, all are hallucinations born from a brain half awake and drenched in fear hormones. These experiences feel profoundly real because they engage the same neural networks that process actual sensory input. To the brain, the ghost at the foot of your bed isn't imaginary, it's experienced truth, the energy we feel. Walk into an ancient church or abandoned hospital, and you might feel something heavy, even sacred. People describe it as energy, but science describes it as atmosphere, acoustics, and emotion. Physical spaces can store stimuli that affect human emotion: temperature, sound resonance, even barometric pressure. Old stone buildings, for instance, retain cold longer, amplifying that chilling, uneasy sensation. But the real energy is psychological. Humans are emotional mirrors. When we know a place carries tragedy, a battlefield, a graveyard, a hospital, our bodies respond with measurable stress reactions. Faster heartbeat, sweating palms, heightened awareness. To us, it feels like entering a field of invisible energy. In truth, it's empathy. Our nervous system resonating with history. Science of the unseen. The rise of photography and technology brought new proof, or so it seemed. Blurry faces, floating orbs, transparent silhouettes. Every era has its ghost photos, each explained by the physics of light. Dust, moisture, lens flare, and long exposure create shapes. Our pattern-hungry brains interpret as human. This effect, known as pareidolia, is why we see faces in clouds or religious icons on toast. Infrared cameras, popular in ghost hunting, amplify heat and motion, but they also distort data, turning tiny fluctuations into glowing anomalies. Even sound recorders pick up electronic interference mistaken for voices, a phenomenon known as EVP, or electronic voice phenomenon. We don't capture spirits, we capture ourselves, our desire to prove the unseen. Why we still believe. Despite all this evidence, belief in ghosts remains nearly universal. Why? Because ghosts aren't just stories about death. They're stories about life. They comfort us when logic fails. They suggest we're more than atoms. They give shape to grief, guilt, and love that refuses to end. Anthropologists note that nearly every culture's ghost stories follow the same emotional arc: loss, injustice, unfinished business, redemption. Ghosts exist because we need them to. They make sense of tragedy and give continuity to consciousness. In a way, science and spirituality meet here. Both seek to explain what happens when we die, one through data, the other through meaning. Neither has finished the story, so what is the scientific explanation for ghosts? They're the result of a perfect storm. Biology, physics, psychology, and belief colliding in the dark. Electromagnetic fields alter perception. Infrasound shakes the eyes. Stress floods the brain with hallucinations. Memory fills the blanks with stories passed down for centuries. But that doesn't make ghosts any less real to those who see them. Because every haunting tells us something about ourselves. Our fear of death, our hunger for meaning, our refusal to believe that consciousness simply ends. Maybe the real ghost isn't out there in the shadows. Maybe it's inside us, the part of the mind that refuses to stop asking what happens next. If this exploration changed the way you see the paranormal, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more deep dives from the Mind Metrics. We explore the strange border where science meets mystery. From life after death to the secrets of the human mind. Until next time, stay curious, stay skeptical, and don't be afraid of the dark.